Hello! Welcome to DIY is my happy place. I'm Amy and today is gonna be another fun Halloween craft. I've done quite a few over the years. If you're wondering what crafts I've done, you can look right here and there's been a few. Just click on the description down below to find more Halloween crafts. But this one today, I'm excited because it's one of the easiest, fastest crafts ever. In fact, this is one that you could do with a preschool, or you could do it with a youth group. Maybe you want to make something fast and easy to be decor around your house, or possibly to give to neighbors or friends. I love it. So if you want to see how to make a fun Halloween craft out of dum-dum suckers, let's have some fun. First thing we're going to do is make a darling Dracula using dum-dum suckers and a few other items that I picked up mostly from the Dollar Tree. You can glue these if you're doing this with small children. I'm going to be using a hot glue gun. So obviously everything that we do with hot glue, you can do with regular glue if you're doing it with small children. The first thing I want to do is get a straw, and I want to glue the straw onto the stick so we can extend the length of our sucker. Now, if you're going with children, you might want to tape it on rather than gluing it. And my straws happen to be the bendable kind of straws, so I'm going to reinforce that bending part with some hot glue. But if you get the straws that don't have bends, you won't have to do this part. So I'm just adding a little hot glue so that it won't bend too much. I want it to be able to have a little bend, but not too much. Okay, next we're going to get 2 black paper napkins. And the thing I love about this is I want the whole thing to be disposable, because the point is this isn't meant to be a decoration that you keep for years and years. This is meant to be a decoration or a gift that is meant to be cute and then edible, disposable. Okay, I've got some fabric here, and this happens to be from a tree skirt that I picked up from the Dollar Tree. And I remember looking at it and thinking, that looks kind of like Halloween fabric to me. I think I can use that for a craft in the future. So I picked up some of this fabric, but you could use felt, you could use any kind of fabric for this. This is just going to be the collar for my Count Dracula. Or my vampire, so to speak. And because this is really fabric that you need to be able to see both sides, I'm gluing 2 pieces together. If you were using something else, a different kind of fabric that's double-sided, you wouldn't have to glue the 2 pieces together like this. Or you could sew them, but of course I'm trying to do everything quickly and easily. Okay, so there's no specific measurement. This just depends on what size you prefer. Now I have some little black elastics, and I'm going to use those to help put this together. So I'm going to take my sucker, and then I'll bunch up the napkins and get my little elastic. All of these things I did get from the dollar store. Now, sometimes you can't find the black napkins there, so you may have to pick them up at a different grocery store. But look how easy this is. This is our little Dracula vampire guy. Now for his teeth, I'm going to use, I have some foam stickers that are snowflake stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now you can also use just about anything for this. I'm trying to use things that I already have on hand. So I'm going to cut these to look like teeth, but you could use white fabric, you could use white paper, you could use just plain white foam, like the crafter's foam. Really anything would work. I just am using these stickers because they already have glue on the other side and they kind of look a little creepy. Like once it's cut up, it'll look like jaggedy teeth. Now you do want these to be pretty big. I know this looks almost like a walrus right now, but for gnomes, you want things to be over exaggerated. And once we get the nose on and everything, we're going to need those extra teeth. Now I like to use jar filler glitter balls that I get from the Dollar Tree. And I really pick up every color. I have about 6 different packages of these, but I get them and then I can use them over and over for all my different gnomes and crafts over the years. So just an investment of a couple of packages of these will go a long way for noses and for hands. So, okay, now let's move on. Now we're going to make the hat, and this too is made out of the paper napkin. And what we're going to do is get the corner and we're going to fold it over just a little bit past halfway. Add a bead of glue across the top of it and then fold the other side over. And then you have a perfect gnome hat. And this is so fast, so easy. Now we're going to trim off the bottom according to what size we need, but we'll do that in a minute. You don't want to do that too soon. Of course, you want your glue to dry. But for the top little pom-pom, I love using puffy yarn. Now, I bought a strand of this puffy yarn and I've used it over and over for so many different gnome crafts. And I mean, it has been well worth the investment. I'll put a link below so that you can know what kind of puffy yarn it is. And it can be used for poms or for other decorations. And it's just one of my basic supplies I always keep on hand. Okay, now let's go back to my Dracula collar. I'm going to just trim off the edges so that it's all very even. Now this collar could be made out of foam or felt or even paper. This could be a different color of a paper napkin. I mean, really, you want to be able to use what you have. Okay, now we're going to measure our hat and we're going to determine what size we want our hat to be. And we're going to cut the bottom off and you make it kind of like a smiley face. You want it to look like a party hat, the shape of a party hat. And you want to make sure that it's bigger than the head. And if you have it too big, it's much easier to size it down than if you cut it too small. Speaking for a friend, okay, I'm speaking for myself. The first one I did, I cut the hat too small and I had to start over. But basically what we want to do is we want to be able to get this paper hat to crimp around the nose a little bit. We're going to add a dab of glue around the nose and a little behind the back of the hat just to hold it in place. And then our Dracula gnome is starting to come together. Now, isn't that cute? It's very easy, and you can kind of bend the hat to the side if you want, however you want to do this. Okay, now we definitely need our collar in order to make this look like a Dracula. So just make sure you get glue in every little spot so your hat is solid and it's going to hold its position, and then we can glue on our collar. Now, again, I love my little elastics. Now, I'm not going to keep the elastic on it, but I will put it on for now just to kind of hold this in place because I'm impatient. I don't want to sit there and hold it while it dries, and I can move on to the next thing while that is drying. Now, I want to put a little band around the neck so it looks like the collar is tied on, or like that collar is part of the cape and it's all tied on. So that's why I cut off another piece of this beautiful purple fabric, and I'll just glue it down. Again, this would be fine if you used paper or a napkin for that as well. And then after you glue that down, it just looks like the collar is part of the cape. And the collar is usually a different color than the rest of the cape. So there you go. We didn't have to add another napkin for the cape because it's already there. Now you can cut the sides and create arms. On some of my vampires I did and some I didn't. And it could go either way. Now I want to show you the stand that I made for my Draculas. Now I got some of this foam. Now you want to get the gentle grip type of foam because you need to be able to punch your straws through it to hold it up. I just put glued the napkin right onto the foam and then glue some ribbon around it just to give it a little decor, and then we can just punch the straws right through to hold up our cute Dracula. And that's a fun little gift that's just ready to go and give away. I did want to add a Gnome Ghost to go along with our vampire, and this is almost the same. Let me just show you how we do our Gnome Ghost. I took some white napkins. Now these were kind of flimsy napkins that I had, so I went ahead and did 3 for this because the black napkins were a lot thicker. I only needed 2. So I guess it depends on how thin your napkins are. And then instead of using an elastic, I'm going to use a piece of yarn, or you could use a pipe cleaner to tie it down, because I don't want to have that black elastic showing. If you have white elastic, you could certainly do that, or something that would blend in. You don't want it to stand out. But in my case, I'm just going to use yarn here, and we're doing everything the same as we did before for our ghost when we get started. Because I want this to look like a gnome, I am getting some of my artificial fur, and I'm going to give it a little tiny beard, because my ghost is going to be a gnome ghost. I don't want it to be just a regular ghost. I want it to be a gnome ghost, and this will help to add that illusion. Okay, so I do keep little scraps of fur in my craft area. I know it looks like trash to some people, but it's treasure to me. Okay, now I'm going to get a white glitter ball for the nose. Glue that on, and then once again we're going to make our hat. Now let me show you this one more time. You want to fold it over just a little bit past halfway, and then go ahead and fold the other side over so that it has a nice crease. Make sure that the side that folds over is the folded piece of napkin, so that you don't have 3 or 4 layers kind of coming out. I hope that makes sense. You want the fold to be on the side that's being glued down. Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and cut off a piece of our palm, or our yarn for the palm on top. We'll size this hat according to the head of our gnome once again. Now this depends on what type of sucker you're using. Now I use Dum Dum suckers, but you could use really any kind of sucker that you would like. I mean, this gnome could get bigger. If you were to use like the Tootsie Pop suckers, those are a little bit bigger, and that's why you need to be able to size your hat accordingly. Or you can make the bubblegum kind of sucker, or the great big gourmet suckers could make a lovely gnome too. One thing that I do recommend when you're putting your ghost gnome hat on, make sure that you have it be one of those gnome hats that comes over and it's kind of glued on the side. You don't really want to have a white pointed hat gnome, in my opinion, because that can give off the wrong opinion of what we're going for. We're definitely going for a gnome ghost and nothing else, and we don't want to give any other illusion. Okay, so once again, we're going to make sure that we glue all the little pieces down, and so that it is attached to the head of our gnome. And then if there's any spots where the glue isn't attached, go ahead and give it another little dab, and then we'll grab our elastic so that we can glue the gnome hat over, and it'll look more like, the guy from Christmas Carol or something. Anyway, okay, we're going to set that aside and let that dry, and then we'll take that elastic off to make our fun gnome ghost. Isn't that cute? Now we can add the Dracula and the ghost together. Now I took a glue stick, one of my skinny little glue sticks, and I actually used it to help punch the holes into the foam just to make it easier to get it started. Even though it's the gentle foam, it's still, I got a flimsy straw, and it just helps to be able to place my little guys in for their decoration. And look how fun this is. You could do this in a really quick hour-long craft with, let's say you did it for a youth group, and then they could go and deliver these and say, "Happy Halloween, here's a fun little treat for you. There's treats under there." You probably have to let them know this isn't expected to be a formal decoration, but something more for fun as a treat. And I just think it's great to bring joy to anyone who you think needs a pick-me-up. What'd you think? I think it was perfect. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe and share this out where you can. And don't forget to ring the bell. In fact, you can ring the bell to all so that you can get notified when I put up new content. I absolutely love to do DIY projects of all kinds. So thank you so much for sticking with me. If you want to see more videos like that, click on this one right here or this one right here, and I will see you again soon. See ya!